Britney Spears calling out her father, sister, and her so-called support system on social media over the weekend. And her calls for freedom are being heard from Hollywood to Washington, D.C. ABC's Kaylee Hartung has this story.
Britney Spears' conservatorship battle inspiring new legislation on Capitol Hill. The Free Britney Act, set to be introduced to Congress on Tuesday by Representatives Nancy Mace and Charlie Crist, allowing a person under conservatorship like Britney to petition the court for an independent conservator who's not a family member or related in any way, aiming to protect the conservatee from bad actors who could try to profit from the legal arrangement. This is Britney's conservator of person Jody Montgomery returns to court today to discuss her petition to hire 24/7 security to protect her from the death threats she says she's received. She's requesting Britney's estate pay the more than $50,000 per month expense. But Britney's father, Jamie, who's in charge of her estimated $60 million fortune, has told the court he does not believe such an expense is reasonable, necessary, or a proper expense. Over the weekend, Britney declaring on social media the conservatorship she's been under for more than a decade killed my dreams. And revealing how she feels about her sister Jamie Lynn recreating her music in 2017, alongside other Radio Disney stars in tribute to Britney. Writing, "I don't like that my sister showed up at an award show and performed my songs to remixes. My so-called support system hurt me deeply." And in another post, Britney calling out the people closest to her, writing, "How dare you make it public that now you care? Did you put your hand out when I was drowning? Again, no." Hours later, Jamie Lynn posting that she is feeling solid, stable, and still.
Our thanks to Kaylee Hartung for that. And for more on the battle over Britney Spears' conservatorship, we bring in attorney Harry Nelson with the law firm of Nelson Hardiman. Thanks so much for joining us, Mr. Nelson. Britney Spears is really ratcheting up her fight on social media, saying that her so-called support system hurt her and the conservatorship has killed her dreams. Do you typically hear these kinds of complaints about a conservatorship argument or arrangement?
These are definitely unusual kinds of complaints. I mean, for most conservatees are silenced in this process. You know, Britney's in an unusual position by virtue of being rich, by being famous, by having millions of fans, and having a career as a creative artist to make these complaints about. So she's definitely privileged as people in conservatorships go. But I think that's part of why this story has caught so much attention and called attention to the problems that we're seeing in this conservatorship.
And it seems like Britney Spears has to pay both sides, the legal fees for herself and also for the conservatorship. Is that customary?
Well, yeah. So normally conservatorships are funded privately, and they're for the benefit of the person who's under the conservatorship. So it is typical to ask for fees to be paid for the conservatorship. Frankly, what a lot of people have questioned is why her father, ordinarily many parents serve as conservators for their children without any compensation. Her father has made a small fortune as her conservator and now is objecting to paying for security. But ostensibly what's supposed to be paid for are things that are for the benefit of the conservatorship. And I think we can expect that the payments for Jody Montgomery's security are going to be a short-term feature. At least if you're like me, one of the people who believe this conservatorship has its days numbered.
And yeah, so you say that you believe that it has its days numbered. We're starting to see movement among lawmakers to potentially change how conservatorships operate. Do you feel like Britney's case highlights some of the possible flaws in the system?
Absolutely. I think this case has been very important for calling attention to a few thher Number one, the question of how do we make sure that people under conservatorship know their rights and know that they have the ability to terminate. Britney claimed that her attorney didn't advise her of her ability to terminate. Number two, conservatorships are much easier to start than they are to end, and coming up with a way, making it easier to ensure that they don't become self-perpetuating. And number three, I think this has called attention to some fundamental disability rights issues. We have fundamental questions of how people with mental health issues, Britney's talked about her bipolar disorder, how do they manage their health? Like, at what point is it reasonable to expect that they can make their own choices, whether it comes to the medications that they take or don't take, and whether it comes to having children? This case raises really important questions about the rights of people with disabilities.
And what do you think, back to this specific case of Britney Spears, those who are big fans, proponents of the Free Britney movement, how long do you feel like they're going to have until they have their day to celebrate?
Today we heard from Matt Rosengart, the attorney that just took over, that this is going to end expeditiously. I think that means we're going to have a few more months of this. The judge is still going to have to go through the evidence. We're going to have a big fight over whether Britney has to undergo an evaluation. I suspect that it's a couple more months here, but at the end of the day, I think that the judge is not going to have any choice but to acknowledge that Britney is not in the same place she was 13 years ago when she was hospitalized, that she is somebody who, notwithstanding her disability, can manage her own health. So I think we're coming towards the end. And
so you think that Britney Spears is going to be free by the end of the year?
That's my prediction.
Harry Nelson, thank you so much for your time and insight.
Thanks for having me on.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.